Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Along This Spiritual Journey. So, people who are emotionless are not people who don't have emotions. What I've learned, at least of myself, when it comes to being a very logical thinking person, which is why I went on this whole tangent in search of emotional intelligence, because I think in a way that it's very detached from how any situation feels, not even just the people involved. I'm detached from the situation unless I feel the need to empathize. Versus someone is extremely emotional. They live in the sauce, they're dripped in the sauce, they only feel the feels all the time. They don't know how other people don't see it, and it's frustrating. And so I've learned that most people live in both worlds, they just don't talk about it, right? Most of us are concerned with either being super overtly logical or super emotional to the point that it's hard to meet back in the middle. And remember, we are all dualistic energy. We are epicene beings, which means we all have masculine and feminine traits. And again, this physical body is masculine, everything inside of it is feminine. So, learning how to integrate these energies into your reality is very important in how you make your everyday moves, because the same goes for if you're really focused on a type of job or a type of career that you want, or a type of modality that you're really into. You put time and effort into understanding it and learning it. No one is a master. You're a beginner first, and then the more you learn and the more you integrate, it becomes natural to you. So for me, I had to really learn how to integrate emotions into my life, because I come from a very masculine energy in my family. Doesn't matter if there's females in my family. For me, my family is very go getter, get it done, don't make excuses. Yeah, that's nice, that's how you feel, but you still gotta go do it, right? So it never really left space for me to feel, as we say, as the human needs. The soul is running the show, right? Or at least the consciousness of the soul that we're connected to. If your soul is still asleep, then your human body is running the show, and it's going to run on pure emotions always, because that's all it has to run on. When you wake your soul up, it starts to think a little bit more logical, congruently with your own emotional thoughts that you have. Remember, the body is all emotions. It feels, it processes thoughts into, or it processes emotions into thoughts. But we are not logical by nature, at least I don't feel we are. We all come out with love, we all come out nurturing, we all want the best. We are taught how to be logical, we are taught function, we are taught structure. We learn the ways of nature. If we lived in the nature how most tribes were, we would learn different skill sets as they do. Right now, learning to climb a tree is not as important to someone who lives in a high rise versus someone who has to forage for their food and climb trees, right? Different understandings of self put you in different emotional experiences, which is why culture changes constantly. And we, as the people and the bearers of creators of culture, have to take onus on how we logically process it and how we emotionally process it, because both are integral to how we create our identity. So, understanding that when you meet someone who doesn't emotionally connect with you, you can choose to dismiss that person, or you can choose to take it a little further and learn that person. Now, for me, this is where those terms demisexual, sapiosexual all come into play, because I need to know before I connect with anybody, may it be relationship, romantically, or familial, or friendship. I need to know that I can intellectually have a conversation with you that's going to excite me and excite you. It's not about entertaining me, it's about knowing that we see things from a place of, wow, that's really cool. I would love to learn more about that. Wow, you seem very knowledgeable on that. How did you get to learn all this? That's the space of opening up and learning from a logical standpoint. And then I can emotionally, demisexual, let you in and say, oh my gosh, yes, that turns me on that you emotionally are also have passion behind what you think and feel. You're not just reciting information to me. I know this and I know that and blah, 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 and A plus, plus, blah. great, but what's your passion behind it? What is your purpose behind it? Everyone has a function, everyone has a purpose. Correlating the two creates desires, and it creates your passionate outcomes that you want in your life to be. So I want people to remember that not everyone is going to speak the way you speak, right? We don't want people thinking that just because I don't emotionally empathize with you, or because I don't say it the way you want to hear it, it doesn't mean that I don't care. I used to say the phrase, I don't care a lot. And people would be like, oh my God, he doesn't care. And I'm just like, what is the big deal? What are they stressed about? All I said is, I don't have the energy to give this thing that has nothing to do with me, so I don't care. It doesn't mean that I don't care about the lives that are involved, or I don't care about the people's situation involved. It's just, I don't care. But for someone who is only taught the human side, where their soul is still asleep, you don't care about life, you don't care about any life. And it's like, life is death, and death is life, and you have to learn to accept that. I'm not saying that how people pass is appropriate. That has nothing to do with me and the universe, just how the universe grows and decays and takes certain parts of the earth away and doesn't. I have nothing to do with that, right? That's the part of me that's logical. If an earthquake happens and 100,000 people pass, that is crappy. But there's nothing I can do in that moment except learn from that situation. Some people don't think like me. Some people want to feel through that situation. And that is totally appropriate. That is totally okay. Now, because I'm not feeling through it, doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about how to make it not happen again. Remember, people who are usually logical are usually put into the masculine energy, where they're not going to stop to feel it. They're going to stop to figure out how to protect it from happening again, right? And then that moment of slowing down, when they stop and they've done their work, and it catches up to them emotionally, they can say, man, that is horrible that happened. And there's many a times where I'm just sitting and I see something or a memory on TV and I cry, because I'm like, man, that really sucks that happened to those people or that person. But in the moment of doing, I'm not thinking about the sadness. I'm thinking about, what can I do to prevent this? So really focus on learning your logic. What is your logic connected to emotionally? Because everyone has emotions. Because I'll tell you this right now, when everyone gets that little tingly feeling in their undercarriage, right? Everyone knows what horniness is. They know how they feel then. But when it comes to coming out of that and going back to our logical world, all of a sudden all those emotions are gone. That's why passion is hot, because you put all your emotions into one spot and you just let them and that's why people love that crazy toxic love, because it's a polyp of all the emotions that they're not letting out. And then when they meet this person or entity, now they have an expression to let it out on. Don't do that. Express it to all the time, so that then when you meet energies who are aligned with you, you see the yin and yang. Every logical person usually ends up with an emotional person. Every emotional person usually ends up with a logical person. All have both aspects, but there's still going to be a part that's one over the other, right? No matter which way you put it, when they're aligned, they don't connect on this aspect. They have to intertwine. That is the truest form of connection, of letting yourself cross that bridge, but keeping the bridge connected. So, emotionless doesn't mean you don't have emotions. It usually just means that you're more focused on the thought of the outcome and how to prevent and retain, versus the emotional part, which is, it all falls apart. No matter how much people don't believe it, when you become too emotional, things around you start to decay and fall apart, because it's too much water, it's too much moisture, it's too much feminine energy, whereas now you're not letting it grow. So find your balance, find your bridge. I love you.